bottom right of the map, we have the LGIM Protoss player.
New challenger, LGIM first.
And his opponent starts to the bottom left, starting in red after defeating his teammate Fantasy. It is
Grandmaster, SK Telecom T1 Ray.
And in the regular season, or in the regular group stage, first took out Rain with a 2-0, so he didn't allow his opponent to win a single map. Now we're here on Whirlwind, and this is not a best of 3 anymore, this is a best of 1. And we'll find out who takes the lead in the tiebreaker and will go up against Hypernex.
Yep. There are close positions on Whirlwind. Protoss versus Protoss, rush distance not always the biggest factor, but it makes some differences. In these positions, there's a lot of ways you can hide. For example, if you want to hide a tech structure on a map like this, there's so many different places. You can hide in a completely different main base, your Dark Shrine, for example, and your opponent might predict something else is going to happen.
Yeah. For Rain, this is of course a little bit of a weird moment. For today, he had essentially to prepare 3 matchups. He had to prepare for his games against Fantasy, and then also, in case that he wins, he needed to at least have a bit of a look against the PvP and at the Protoss versus Zerg. So he is arguably in the worst position of the 3 players that we see participating in the tiebreaker here.
Yeah, when it comes to preparation, you can't really argue that. He just has the most matchups to prepare for.
Of course, all of these players prepared against each other already in regular group stage, so they will definitely have a bit of an idea what their opponents are usually going to do in a certain matchup and on a certain map. But still, let's find out what exactly they're going to do right now. The first scout goes to first.
Yep, he comes out first, and both players mining from their refineries, or their simulators I should say, both 3 in each. So you can see that the gas income relatively even. And in fact, actually no, Rain pulled out, so he only has 2 and 2. So yeah, that's why he's about 30 gas behind his opponent, but that also gives him a lead in mineral income.
Finds his opponent actually at the first position that he scouts, so gets a little bit lucky there. It's always really annoying when you scout across the entire map on a 4-player map that is as big as Whirlwind, and then you have no clue where your opponent actually spawned. So in this scenario, he gets that scout right away. And let's have a little bit of a look at the statistics for the players here, especially for Rain. If you look down Rain's match history against Protoss in Heart of the Swarm offline, you'll find him with 24 maps played in total, and he actually won exactly 50% of those games. And just lately, he hit a little bit of a dry spot. He actually lost his last 6 maps that he played against Protoss, against Jungbi, against HS, aka Pig Baby, First, Deer, and Trap. So he didn't win a PvP in a long time.
Yeah, run a little bit dry. The Stargate play coming out here for Rain is really interesting to me. He's going to be going for Oracles, and what's really also quite strange is the 3-gate pressure coming out from first. He's going to 3 gateways with no tech, so he can put a lot of pressure on somebody like Rain, who is putting all of his gas into Stargate. He's getting his own 2 gates, but they're very late.
You know, if you look at First's record against Protoss in this matchup, dude, like, he didn't lose a single best of 3, not one. And if you look at the maps, he played 16 maps and only dropped 2. That's an 88% win ratio in Protoss versus Protoss. And he is using that aggression early on here, right away. So First is definitely, when you look at the stats, he's the favorite player in this one, that's for sure.
Yeah. And if you look at the builds here, I might have to say that is true as well, because he has the forward pylon already up, his gateways are done. As soon as that pylon finishes, he can warp in. He has his mothership core coming in here to harass as well. He's going to scout the Oracle, then he can prepare accordingly at home when he needs to.
Yeah, he did. Oh, he did not really see that.
Yeah, but he's going to see the Stargate, and he's going to realize.
Yeah. Here comes the mothership core moving in, and look at this army at the front. There's no sentry.
No sentry here.
He just walks up the ramp. He can always just recalls back a little bit too late. The mothership core actually going down. The Oracle now moving into the mineral line.
The Void Ray is going to be a great defense here. Rain looking to be in a decent spot if he can get that Void Ray out. He's also going to get a lot of kills here in the main base and forces the Warp in to be at home rather than be aggressive. And Rain, he has enough units here to hold as soon as he brings that Void Ray out. There it is.
The Void Ray is there, and as you already said, he's able to hold the forward pile not being utilized since the Warp-ins in the main base had to be used to take down the Oracle, and Harvesters killed 9 in total by Rain.
The Oracle is dead. And this puts Rain in a decent spot because he also has the Void Ray out, which he can use to hold an expansion if he wants to take one. We see a Twilight Council going down for first. Very likely to be for Dark Templar because he knows that his opponent did not do a robotics-oriented build. He's confirmed this. Was that scouted?
I don't think he did.
No, he didn't see it. Okay.
And he still has that forward pylon, and he also has a bit of a soft contain, but of course as soon as, well, he actually...
The Void will be ready soon to push him back.
Exactly, the Void Ray, as soon as he has the cooldown for that, he has to move back, and that's exactly what he does right now. Here comes the Void Ray trying to move in, but loses one Stalker, and that's it.
Yep. This pylon will go down.
Really important
Dark
that he
Shrine.
finds the forward pylon.
Yeah. Finds that pylon. That means the DTs are going to be far away when they come in. It gives them a lot of time. Making a Phoenix cancels it. Cancels the Phoenix. He's having, you know, some time to have to think about exactly what he wants to do here. He's not started Nexus just yet, but with the probe poised here, it looks like he will.
Yeah, he will. Rain is also, well, he gets those extra pylons. He was supply blocked for a few seconds there. The sentries at the front can, of course, always shut out units that try to move into the main base, but for now, First is still sticking it out with one base only, and his Dark Shrine is halfway done. He doesn't really have that forward pylon anymore. He sends a probe to the left side of the map and tries to drop another one. Those DTs could really do a lot because there's no Oracle, there's no detection. And if not for force fields, then those DTs should be able to get into the main base.
Yeah. There's the forward pylon, which will not be spotted.
There's the Phoenix on the other hand. There's the hallucination. And that should be able to spot that Dark Shrine.
He barely doesn't see the Phoenix with his units. If he had seen the Phoenix with his units, he could have killed it before it crossed the map. He still has a few units, though, that could deny it. It's really all about luck here.
Yeah, the Phoenix is
starts the
moving
robo
in.
anyways.
Here comes the base and the sentries. The robotics has been started. It's more about the force fields than anything else. Now that he knows that there's a Dark Shrine, he will make sure that he has force fields at the ramp. And of course, the Oracle immediately for the Envision.
The Oracle, he has the units on hold position at the ramp. There's no way he's going to miss his force field. As soon as the DT does its first swipe, he's going to get force fielded out.
He sees it already.
There are Stalkers to help out, but
at least he can start to attack the Nexus, but I don't think he's going to be able to force a cancel or even kill it.
Yeah, I don't think he can kill it because the Oracle is going to allow him to move down easily here. He can't even get past the shields.
Yeah, he's trying to take down one of those. Well, Sentry's not even that is going to happen. And here comes the Oracle with the Envision, and immediately First has to back off.
This is a terrible position for First. The Nexus is second, and he has spent all of his money on his tech that is no longer going to be useful.
Yeah, this is actually a great position for Rain to be in right now. And First, even though he has such an impeccable record against Protoss in Heart of the Swarm, he's looking a little bit lost here.
Yeah. So maybe the first time he ends up losing a Protoss versus Protoss in quite some time. There's the robotics finished. Goes Observer first. And the reason why he has to do this and why he keeps hallucination scouting is because a common response to DTs is DTs. Because you know your opponent doesn't have detection. And he keeps checking just over and over again. He also wants to see how many probes there are.
Rain is going into the Forge before his opponent, but we have the Forge also now for First on the production tab, going into the Twilight Council on his own. Still has a 15 supply lead over his opponent. Both of them heading into Immortals right now. And this is starting to shape up to be a bit more of a drawn-out game now.
Yeah. The Oracle is actually going for some harassment at the natural. Something that First is probably not really going to be thinking about directly on his mind. He has his units in the middle of the map, but they're not where the Oracle is.
Yeah.
The Oracle coming in now.
He killed 9 probes with the first one, and now he's moving in with another one, and those units are a little bit too far away. 1 kill, 2, gets a 3rd, gets a 4th, and then backs off. Well done here so far by Rain, taking down the economy of First even more.
Also using the Mothership Core energy. Just every little thing makes a difference. The upgrades relatively even for the 2 players, but Rain slightly ahead in this regard as well. And the Hallucination Scout is going to get whacked down.
I really like that sneaky expand that we see from First now on the top center position. But Rain is actually sending an SCV. I think it's a probe that he's.
I'll check. It's a probe, yeah.
Yeah. So it is a probe, and the probe is actually going to find it. I really like that First is trying that, but great scout here by First.
Yep. We'll likely cancel immediately. The pylon here.
He's going to cannon it.
You know what's funny is if First leaves with his probe, then Rain could make the Nexus there with his pylon that he just set up.
Yeah. So that was a really amazing scout here by Rain. That was really, really well done. I like the idea by First trying to be a bit sneaky here because he realizes that he's behind in the game. and trying to get back into business. But right now, Rain is really dictating the match.
With that pylon that first has near the Nexus, he could actually warp in like 4 DTs or even Zealots and try to kill that Nexus before it's done because there's no army nearby. It would be a bit of a risk because there's a chance that there's an army just on the other side of it, which he can't tell by looking at that pylon.
Yeah, but definitely true. I mean, he has that forward pylon, and so far it hasn't been spotted, so he can try to make that happen. We have both of them now going into the Templar Archive, but Rain just overall in a great position here, already going into the +2 attack upgrade, and by now the pylon has been spotted.
Picks up the pylon. I don't know what First can do in this game to catch up. He has to either take an insanely good engagement or hope that Rain makes a mistake. He's adding a lot of Immortals right now, going up to the 4th one, so he's actually passing Rain in Immortal count. And he has Charge Out very early. Something that Rain already has.
In overall supply, it's just a 30 supply lead that we already have for Rain, and that is really amazing for him. That 3rd base is also up a lot faster. He can start mining now right away. And the scout on the 3rd of First. So Rain just in a dominating position.
That scout is the moment where Rain looks at this and he says, well, mine's been up for so long, I don't even have to do anything else. I can just kind of ignore it and continue to get further ahead. He has pylons everywhere around the map to spot any possible hidden bases. He's even double checking to make sure there's no base that's been re-added to the north, checking for forward pylons, anything. Rain is covering all of his bases here.
Yep, and Rain can also move out with his army. Here's once again the scout with the hallucination. The Phoenix is just moving in. Mothership Core on the other hand for Rain is now moving out of the base, trying to join the main bulk of the army. More and more Archons being brought into the picture for the SKT1 player. Bit of a zealot fight, but I think +2 attack. No, it's not done just yet. But Rain wins the fight anyways. One hit point left.
Yeah, the closeness of that fight does not reflect how close this game is because Rain is very far ahead.
Storm for First is now coming into play, but we have a Warp Prism also for Rain, and he could start to warp into the main base or even the natural while attacking the 3rd base.
Could even just use it as a foreign warp in point for his attack. He's so far ahead. He has +2 and that First does not, and he knows this. Storm is coming out for First. Without any Void Rays on the map, I think Storm is not going to be all too useful against this type of composition. Yeah, this is not StarCraft 1. These are not Dragoons.
Well, here we go, trying to make that work. The pylon goes down right away. The Warp Prism is on the way into the main base or natural. Storm will be done in a few seconds, and then he can control the choke point.
Yeah. At least attempt to. He's got 4 Zealots in a Warp Prism coming towards that natural.
He can drop in the natural and just fly into the main base and set up another round of warp-ins.
Yeah.
And here we go. Moving straight for the main. And here comes that army. Where are the Storms? Not there just yet. Force fields, of course, a little bit useless against the Archons. But here's the main base attack and immediately another round of warp-ins. Oh my god, that's a lot of units here for the main.
Yeah, you can actually just target down the robotics or the Nexus or whatever he wants. There's even a DT in the mix here trying to defend. But it's not gonna. That one DT is not gonna turn this tide.
Yeah, that Nexus is most likely going to fall, and he even uses now the Photon Overcharge. But actually, I think he's gonna save the Nexus.
It doesn't matter too much about the Nexus, I guess, since that one's not really mining. Time Warp goes down. No Storms here.
40 supply lead in total, nearly up to 50. Getting the +3 attack upgrade now in the transition to Colossi. Once again, utilizing that one Warp Prism. The cannon is not there just yet. The warp-in is good.
That warp-in is good. The Warp Prism goes down, but he's still got the units in. He's just continuing to trade here very, very nicely. He has a decent economy.
And another Photon Overcharge being baited out. No energy anymore on the Mothership Core.
See how good his Storms are. He actually tosses 2 of the Templar for favor of an Archon. The Storms go down, but Protoss units have so many hit points. The Storms just not too useful here.
Is moving into the base right now, and we have First dropping in supply.
The next wave of Zealots already attacked by Archons, and then Rain's wave of Zealot comes in. But, you know, the Immortals actually help him push this back for now.
Yeah, First actually doing a decent job here and forcing his opponent back for now. But where do we have the next round of warp-ins? We currently have this army supply lead in favor of First, if I'm not mistaken. He's down in the harvest account. They're actually really equal now. Yep. 61 against 67 in favor of First. First might be able to pull this off.
Yeah, he may, because he's got a group of units going towards the main base here. This is something that Rain did not really prepare for.
Yeah, suddenly that cannon is down, and he takes down the harvesters that are taking gas.
DT in here as well, so he needs detection to defend this.
Yeah, and DT already realized that there is a DT. He's trying to take down those pylons and unpower the gateways.
There are 3 observers, but he is going to need, like you said, to realize that.
Well,
just first is getting some momentum here. He's still behind.
Yeah, he's still behind, but as you said, he's getting a little bit of momentum here. The problem for him really also being that now Colossi transition is completed for Rain. He's going into the range upgrade. Right here, a nice attack once more at the third base, sneaking into the mineral line.
Yeah. +3 is done for first as well. I mean, for Rain, excuse me.
35 harvests killed against 18. Both of them doing a decent job at killing economy.
The next is the fourth base is up first for first. It's spotted. And this may trigger Rain to do the same himself. There's that Zealot that fought earlier, this time dies. And a block, or an attempted block on the Nexus. He does actually get it down.
And that's the fourth base now for Rain. At the same time, he is still active on the map. He doesn't see the pylon to the top left, though. This is something that he overlooked. Double robotics for the double Colossus production. And range is about to be completed. Here comes that warp prism again for first. It was really useful early on when he warped into the main base, but I'm not quite sure if that's really going to happen again. There are still units in the main just waiting for another warp prism to approach.
Yeah. First is closing the gap in supply a little bit here, Calder. He's actually adding more Immortals right now. He's just going for Immortal Templar. He's trying to make sure that he's trying to have an army that's storm-based with big heavy hitters on the ground rather than having the Colossi range at the back. He still has a decent amount of Archons too.
The Colossi is still the issue. They are going to be able to do so much damage.
Storms are never going to hit those.
Of them. Yeah.
And even if they did, the reason why Storm is not very good in this matchup is because Protoss units have so many hit points. The key of a Storm is to kill the unit, or at least lethally damage it during the fight. But if you Storm an Archon, the Archon's going to just walk through it.
Here comes Rain once again, this time with the Colossi. His second attempt to take down his opponent. The next Colossus is already there. We have now 6 in total. And he's still trying to search for the best angle to approach this. But he is in a really good position to now go straight into the natural. And completely unscouted at that.
Yeah,
unscouted. He draws his opponent to the right side with another round of Zealot run-bys.
Yeah. Now he could go in here. He actually just tries to get the position. He sends a few Zealots in here to attack the probes. He's got the better concave at the bottom of the ramp, and he's just waiting. Come at me, bro, is what he says to First, and First comes at him.
And here we go, the Colossi being stormed immediately, and all of those Immortals, of course, trying to take charge, but so much damage already dished out by the Colossi, both of them dropping in supply like crazy.
This is so close. The Storms actually did a decent amount of damage as the units of Rain stayed underneath the Storms, and the Immortals of First are actually closing the gap on those Colossi.
Trying to move in, but by now First lost a lot of his army. He's going down to 80 supply against 120, and we still have another additional warp-ins for Rain. Rain is moving up the ramp towards the third base right now. He still has all of those Colossi alive, and even a few of the Immortals. Warps in additional Zealots as a shield. And this is a really... This is potentially game.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, just remember that the +3 for First is not complete yet. It was not complete during that fight, and that really helped Rain do the extra damage with his Immortals, with his Colossi from behind. All those Templar got sniped with just 2 Colossus beam swipes from the Thermal Lance, and I think First is dead here. He doesn't have much to go on at this point.
All of those Archons immediately welcomed by Immortals, Archons, and Colossi. This is it. GG. Rain takes the game against First and will now go up against Haiba.
Yep.